Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a pretty wild topic making waves in the political world. Imagine this, Canada, not as a separate country, but as part of the United States, America's 51st state. Crazy, right? But this idea didn't come from some sci-fi writer. Nope, it was none other than US President-elect Donald Trump who floated this controversial notion. Let's break down what's going on, what it means, and whether it's even remotely realistic. And stick around, because I'll share my take on whether this idea could work, economically and socially, or if it's just pure chaos waiting to happen. So, here's how this all started. During a dinner at Mar-a-Lago on November 29, Trump was talking trade with Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He joked, or maybe didn't, that if Canada couldn't handle the 25% tariffs he's proposing, they might as well just become part of the US. That's right, Trump suggested Canada become the 51st state. Fast forward to a few days later, Trump was back at it on his social media platform, Truth, posting, "It was a pleasure dining with Governor Justin Trudeau of the great state of Canada. I look forward to meeting again soon to discuss tariffs and trade." Spectacular results ahead. Yeah, he called Trudeau a governor. It's the kind of trolling you'd expect from Trump, but beneath the humor, he's making a serious point about trade deficits. Right now, the US is running a $75 billion trade deficit with Canada annually. And Trump argues that the US is essentially subsidizing its northern neighbor to the tune of $100 billion every year. His solution? Tariffs, or statehood. Now, let's talk about Trudeau. Understandably, the Canadian Prime Minister was not amused. According to insiders at the Mar-a-Lago dinner, he was visibly uncomfortable when Trump made his 51st state suggestion. And when someone pointed out that Canada would likely lean politically liberal as a US state, Trump fired back with an idea to split Canada into two states, one liberal, one conservative. Bold move, right? Trudeau didn't take this lying down. On Monday, he fired back, warning that Trump's proposed tariffs would hurt American consumers just as much as Canadians. And if the US goes ahead, Canada will respond with targeted tariffs of their own, designed to hit key Republican constituencies where it hurts. This trade war is heating up. So, let's dig deeper. Could Canada actually become a US state? What would that even look like? On the surface, it sounds far-fetched, but let's break it down. From an economic standpoint, the idea has its challenges. Canada and the US have closely linked economies, but they're not identical. For example, a big chunk of the US-Canada trade deficit comes from energy imports, think oil and gas. These are essential commodities, and slapping tariffs on them would backfire by making energy prices spike. In the US, Trump says this can be avoided by ramping up domestic production, but that's easier said than done. On the flip side, incorporating Canada as a US state could mean unified trade policies and reduced regulatory barriers. In theory, this could streamline industries that already operate across the border, like automotive manufacturing. But would the costs of integrating two economies outweigh the benefits? That's a tough call. Then there's the social and political angle. Canadians pride themselves on being distinct from Americans: universal health care, stricter gun laws, a parliamentary system. How would they react to giving up their national identity? Spoiler alert, probably not well. Even within the US, political divisions run deep. Adding an entire country's worth of people with different cultural values and priorities could create even more polarization. Now, could there be benefits? Sure. A unified North America might have more bargaining power on the global stage. And for Canadians, becoming part of the US might bring economic opportunities, like access to a larger job market. But let's not ignore the downsides. For one, statehood wouldn't automatically erase the economic disparities between the two countries. Canada has a smaller population and a different economic structure, relying heavily on resource exports. Those resources might become even more tightly controlled by US corporations, potentially leaving Canadians worse off. Socially, the differences in healthcare, education, and social safety nets would be major sticking points. Americans might balk at taking on the cost of expanding Medicare or Social Security to millions of new citizens. And Canadians? They'd likely resist losing their publicly funded healthcare system. So, is Trump's 51st state idea brilliant or bonkers? I'd say it's mostly bluster. The economic and cultural differences between the US and Canada are too big to ignore. Sure, it makes for great headlines and some chuckles on Truth, but the reality is way more complicated than a few tweets or a dinner table joke. Thanks for watching, folks. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next big political story. Until next time, take care, and stay informed. That said, the larger conversation about trade, tariffs, and economic interdependence is real and worth paying attention to. What do you think? Could this ever happen, or is it just another Trumpism that's destined to fade away? Let me know in the comments below.